Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would do something a little bit different and give you a review of the new YouTube Red series, Cobra Kai. But I'm going to do it a little bit differently because this is going to be from a martial arts instructor's perspective. This might actually end up being two videos. First, what did they do well? And then the second one will be, what did they get horribly, horribly wrong? So first, the good. What did Karate Kid and the Cobra Kai do very well? First and foremost, I love the characters. They're fleshed out human beings, Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso. In the original, Johnny Lawrence is the antagonist. He's the quote-unquote bad guy. And Daniel LaRusso is the good guy. He's the protagonist. But here we have a much more dynamic and different approach where these guys are both human beings. You can really understand where Johnny Lawrence is coming from. The fact that he lost that karate tournament in high school, at first I was scratching my head thinking, why does that matter so much? But then when you go back and you watch the series, you realize that Cobra Kai was his family. It was his home away from home. He bought into it. And it meant a lot to him. It was what he was good at. Sensei John Kreese was like his father figure. And when he lost the tournament, and then his father figure ended up telling him he was a loser, he was no good, it really had a lasting impact on the rest of his life. And I think we can all relate to that. We can understand how that could happen. Daniel LaRusso is not purely the bad guy, as I was afraid they were going to make him. He's kind of a jerk in the beginning, but when you quickly realize that he's just a dad trying to, support his family, and he also cares very deeply about the state of the karate community. That's why when the Cobra Kai comes back, he freaks out. He thinks that the Cobra Kai philosophy and way of doing things, the way of thinking about karate, is a horrible stain on the way of karate. And so he wants to stamp it out, and he makes some mistakes. He doesn't always think it through. He does things that are human. He's not purely the hero in this. I really enjoy that. I also like that they really treat karate respectfully in this show. Ironically, the original Karate Kid series was sort of the reason, along with things like Ninja Turtles in the 80s, that we had all of these, Tiny Tots and Little Dragons programs crop up and really turned karate into what a lot of Americans think of as just a kid's activity. This gave rise to a lot of punchlines, a lot of jokes where the karate instructor was a goofy character. The Rex Kwon Do character from Napoleon Dynamite comes to mind. But I really appreciated that Cobra Kai treated the art of karate respectfully. Treated it as a true self-defense art. Like Johnny Lawrence says after his fight scene, it's old school karate. And if you learn old school karate from a competent instructor, you will learn how to defend yourself. I thought the fight scenes were done fairly realistically. There's no wire fu or anything really outlandish. And so I really appreciated that as well. Now, the big thing that I really loved about this show was the philosophy. They delved into the philosophy of karate, and not just from the Miyagi-Do perspective, the way of Miyagi, which we all know. Karate is for defense only. It's about respecting yourself and respecting others. It's about, the karate is here and never here, referring to your belt. We all know those things, and they did a good job of conveying that as Daniel being the sensei. But what I really thought was interesting was the fact that they explored the Cobra Kai philosophy and how students could really buy into strike first, strike hard, no mercy. In the second episode, we learned that striking first is the initial step towards victory, and Sensei Lawrence uses the analogy of going to a party and seeing a quote hot babe. You don't want some other guy to go get her, so you go talk to her first. It's about being aggressive and not being a wussy. It's you can understand how that relates to life and how he has used that to relate to his life. The no mercying aspect is something that is hard to wrap your head around, especially from an outsider's perspective. But when you really think about it, as he says in the last episode or last two episodes, life isn't merciful. Life is hard. Life is difficult. Life will kick you when you're down. So you've got to be strong. You've got to have no mercy. I teach this to my students. The terminology I use are things like inner strength and courage. It's very important to have a warrior's mentality when approaching your life. That is what martial artists can carry with them in their day-to-day life, even though they may never have to defend themselves. And speaking of self-defense, learning about the idea of defeating your enemy definitively is important. We don't want to be bad people and we don't want to hurt people unnecessarily, but at the end of the day, if you are in a life or death struggle, you have got to be able to definitively and decisively defeat your enemy. And the Cobra Kai teaches that to their students very well. So I really appreciated learning how Johnny Lawrence could really buy into that philosophy and how he can apply it to his life. Seeing his students buy into it just as he and his friends did was amazing. I really love this show, and stay tuned for the next one. What did they do wrong? Please subscribe and like, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Thanks.